Jason Whitlock or Candace Owens. You guys know those names.
Right.
The existence of Jane Elliott being a white woman or a Tim Wise, and the existence of a Jason Whitlock or what's her name, Steele, her last name, or Candace Owens, proves that you don't have to be black to be pro-black, nor do you have to be white to be anti-black. So that proves. So when I'm talking about the mindset of the individual, whether those police officers had an anti-black mindset, negative mindset against a black individual, and they decided to treat him in the same manner as the racist white police officers would, because they're conditioned to be anti-black or racist in that
This is
capacity.
where I get off the train with you. I agree with you, but I don't subscribe to the idea that, because what that does. So Tyree Nichols situation, for example. So what happens is that now we're going to say that even the black officers are racist. I think there's nuance that's missed. I do think that there's truth to what you're saying, but not across the board. So with Tyree Nichols situation, I think what you have is you have police officers have an authority complex, and I don't think that's just racial. I think police officers have an authority complex where some police wrong. That particular group, they were called the Scorpion Unit in Memphis, who killed Tyree Nichols. And the police chief, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe he's black too. So even sometimes when black people are policing themselves, I think we have a police issue in some cases where the authority complex there is just like, I'm going to treat people the way they want to be treated or the way I want to treat them. And also, this is unsubstantiated, but it's possible that Tyree Nichols, this may have been debunked, but it's possible that he may have been dating one of the cops' ex-girlfriends. So there's nuance there. So I think that for black people, we do have to detangle certain things, and we
There's no
can't.
nuance there, and I'm gonna tell you why. Do any of you think those black officers, if that was a Jewish white man, would have done the same thing to him? Or would they have had or would they have valued him as an individual differently in their mindset?
I will answer
Did,
that simply.
did anybody feel a white Jewish male? Because I can show you several videos to include
No,
in New York
I'll tell
City,
you right now.
New
I'll give
York
you the answer.
City,
The
where there
answer
was
is
a
no.
mob of white Jews against this lady walking down the street,
The
and
answer
there
is
was no arrest out there.
the answer. You're absolutely. The answer is no. But then we have to with that thing. We have to reckon with.
So
We
there's a
also have
value system.
yes, but we have to reckon with
It starts
how
with
we
how you're thinking, who you value
correct.
more. So you're going to
Correct.
treat the same way with officers with
Yes.
warning shot. Yo, put the gun down. Come on, I don't want to have to shoot you. This, that, and the other. They give that to people who they value. They treat
No,
people.
I I agree with you, but black people treat themselves. If we go into how we treat ourselves and how we do things towards ourselves, we can't place that all and say, well, we've been conditioned to be that way. I think that
Absolutely,
Yeah, but that's where it's
absolutely, you
rooted
can.
from. That's where it comes from. Yes.
Absolutely, we've been
All of that is
conditioned to that
rooted
way
in self-hate.
because I mean, there's a reason why we accept the N word as we do. I mean, there's a reason why this you can't name another group of people that embrace a negative connotation term and use it in a broad sense like we do. There's no Italian people using, you know, WAP on a regular basis. There are no Jewish people using kite on a regular basis. There are no Chinese people using chink. You don't find that. Yes, it's absolutely positively conditioned. Just because you don't see the change around their head doesn't mean that it's not there. And much like any other, I say anti-black racism is a disease, is the longest running pandemic in history. And like any other disease, if you're not immunized accordingly, you're going to be affected negatively. So if you're a black person and you don't have enough information to immunize yourself in a pro-black sense, you're going to adopt the anti-blackness. And
so
whether
so
I'm not
when
saying it's consciously done,
so so when so
I'm
when
saying it's
so okay.
subconsciously done.
I don't have
And
a
again,
problem.
the NWA song "Fuck the Police"
I don't have a
that actually
problem.
was 30 years, is at least 30 years old, and
Right, I got you,
he
but
spoke about
here's the
the black
thing.
police showing out for the white cop.
Okay, I got you. I agree with that. I do agree with you in the broader sense. What I disagree with is I think that not you personally, but what happens to us in a broader sense, we start getting lazy with nuance. And now we start to put everything in the same basket and we're not looking at how to solve that situation. So I think that the police officers are poorly trained, I think, in some situations, and they have certain people who should not be police officers. Let's put it like that. Definitely from a mental standpoint. Um, Even going back to Sandra Bland, I mean, that guy should not have been a police officer. You know what I'm saying? But
It made me mad,
you know
bro.
what I mean? But I think that there's definitely the racial aspect is definitely part of it. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way around that. I'm not saying that's not part of it. What I'm saying, I don't think it's just a black and white issue. But I think in our community, I'm going to go back to the point of, yeah, I agree with you. You probably would crash out if it was your son. But I doubt your son is going to be in the car with a gun running from the police because there's certain scenarios that put you in a certain harm's way. Now, if the cop that shot him was black, which could totally be possible, this stuff happens every day. So if the cop that shot him was black, then what do we do? Do we automatically be like, well, this is part of the white supremacist system who doesn't value black life? And if it's a black person that's doing it, well, it's because he's been conditioned not to value black life. I think that that's a lazy argument all across the board. I think it's a lazy argument because that's not always the scenario. If you look at current culture now in 2025, I would say we're actually have degenerated backwards if you look at the black folks who had worse situations than us.
Let Yaya cook. She been waiting to cook.
What I want to say is that I think that it is very important that we do focus on the nuances. It's very dangerous for us to start putting everything in one box because Ian, you are absolutely right in everything that you said. I 100% agree. But I also believe that as black people, it's very dangerous for us to not focus on the additional issues that are going on in specific cases. When I watched the video about Tyree Nichols, the thing that disturbed me the most was the fact that I don't think this had anything to do with race or being conditioned against black folks. These cops had the same issue that a lot of other non-black cops have, and that is a superiority complex, a God complex, an ego complex. They beat him to death because they were pissed off that he got away from them. If you look at the video and you listen to what they were saying, they were mad as hell that he got away. They were embarrassed by it. They were pissed off that he wasn't doing exactly what they wanted him to do. Because in the beginning, he was very compliant with them. He was like, okay, all right, whatever you say. He's like, I am laying down. I am laying down. He's already on the ground because he wasn't laying in the exact position that they wanted. They're being overly aggressive almost from the very, very beginning. They were being very egotistical with him. They were being, I mean, like, just unnecessarily aggressive with him, talking to him like he was a dog. And when he decided he was going to get up and run, which was a bad idea, when he got up and run, it hurt their ego. And when they caught up with him, they beat him to death. And so I think that that issue needs to be focused on because as black people, we cannot afford to overlook other aspects of why these crimes happen. We can't just blame